The silent invasion. The emergency broadcast cut through all channels with the force of a solar flare. Admiral Chen was halfway through her morning coffee when every screen in her office blinked to emergency protocol. This is Outpost Prometheus, Earth's furthest colony. We are under attack. The voice belonged to Dr. Marcus Wells, the Outpost's director. His typically composed demeanor had shattered. Blood trickled from his temple as he spoke. They're not killing us. They're collecting us. Like specimens. The transmission crackled with interference. Don't send standard military. Send the Aegis protocol. Send your best. They're studying us, learning our weaknesses. They. The feed cut to static. Chen set down her coffee, no longer interested in its warmth. Outpost Prometheus housed 300 of humanity's brightest minds, stationed 20 light-years from Earth to study a potentially habitable exoplanet. For something to breach their defenses was concerning. For something to turn Earth's greatest scientific minds into research subjects was unthinkable. Within an hour, the United Earth Defense Council convened in an emergency session. The room buzzed with anxious energy as holographic displays showed the last known status of Outpost Prometheus. "We've lost all contact," reported General Hayes, his weathered face grim under the blue glow of the displays. "No response to any communication attempts for the past 12 hours. Admiral Chen stood. "I've reviewed the transmission several times. Dr. Wells specifically requested the Aegis protocol." The room fell silent. The Aegis protocol had never been activated before. It represented Earth's ultimate response to an existential threat. "Are we certain this warrants such a measure?" asked Counselor Rodriguez. "A standard military response would take weeks to mobilize and months to reach Prometheus," Chen interrupted. "By then, everyone would be gone, or worse." Dr. Wells was specific. "Whatever these entities are, they're methodically studying humans. This isn't random violence. It's calculated collection." Defense Minister Wallace leaned forward. "The Aegis team was created for precisely this scenario. Humanity's most exceptional operators, enhanced with our most advanced technologies." "Put to a vote," announced Council President Mbeki. "The activation of the Aegis protocol." The vote was unanimous. Commander Elena Reyes was climbing a sheer cliff face in the Andes when her neural implant pulsed with the distinctive pattern of an Aegis alert. She paused mid-climb, her enhanced muscles holding her body against the rock with minimal effort as her mind processed the encoded message. Aegis protocol activated. Full team deployment. Threat level: Omega. Reyes had never expected to receive that particular signal. The Aegis team, 12 individuals who represented humanity's pinnacle of genetic modification, technological enhancement, and tactical brilliance, trained constantly but had never been deployed together. Each member possessed abilities that military scientists had spent decades perfecting: enhanced strength, accelerated healing, superior cognitive processing, and specialized skills unique to each operator. 16 hours later, Reyes stood in the briefing room of the UES Spearhead, Earth's most advanced stealth vessel. Around her stood the 11 other members of Aegis, each pulled from whatever corner of Earth they had been stationed in. Major Quan, the team's tactical specialist, gestured to the holographic display. "Outpost Prometheus, 20 light-years from Earth. Home to 300 scientists and support staff. Last transmission received 30 hours ago indicated an unknown force was systematically abducting personnel. The Spearhead can make the journey in 5 days using the experimental fold drive," said Dr. Santos, the team's scientific advisor and the only non-combat member. "But the drive has never been tested at this distance." "We don't have a choice," Reyes replied. "Every hour we delay means more people lost." Reyes studied the faces of her team. Lieutenant Vargas, demolitions and heavy weapons. Captain Okafor, infiltration specialist with skin modify for adaptive camouflage. Surgeon Singh, combat medic with accelerated healing capabilities. Lieutenant Commander Ivanova, communications expert with direct neural interfacing. 8 others, each the absolute best in their field, each modified beyond normal human limitations. We've trained for hypothetical scenarios, Rice said, addressing the room. This is real. Whatever we find at Prometheus, remember why we were created. We are humanity's shield when conventional forces won't suffice. We may be the first humans these entities have encountered who can match whatever capabilities they possess. The spearhead departed Earth orbit with minimal ceremony. As the experimental fold drive engaged, bending space in ways theoretical physicists had only recently proven possible, Rice felt the familiar weight of command. These weren't just her teammates. They were humanity's best hope against an unknown threat that had the audacity to treat humans as specimens. 5 days of hyper-accelerated travel gave the team time to prepare. They reviewed the limited intelligence from Prometheus's last transmissions, analyzed the outpost's layout, and ran combat simulations against every conceivable adversary. On the final day, as the spearhead prepared to drop out of fold space, Rice gathered her team one last time. "We don't know what we're facing," she said plainly. "But whatever they are, they've made a critical error. They've only encountered ordinary humans. They have no idea what humanity is truly capable of when pushed to its limits." The spearhead emerged from fold space on the dark side of Proxima Centauri, the exoplanet that Outpost Prometheus had been established to study. The vessel's advanced stealth systems activated immediately, rendering it nearly invisible to all but the most sophisticated detection methods. Initial scans showed an enormous vessel in orbit above the outpost, a ship of clearly alien design, its hull composed of a material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. It dwarfed the spearhead by a factor of 10. "Life signs?" Rice asked. "Inconclusive," replied Ivanova, her neural implants directly interfacing with the ship's sensors. "The alien vessel appears to be shielded against our scans. As for the outpost, faint human life signs detected, but significantly fewer than the expected 300. The insertion was textbook. The spearhead deployed a stealth shuttle that delivered the team to the outpost's emergency airlock. As they moved through the silent corridors, the evidence of struggle was minimal. No blast marks, no structural damage, just abandoned personal effects and meals left half-eaten. Whatever happened here was fast, Vargas observed, his enhanced vision scanning for threats. They didn't even have time to trigger the emergency protocols. "Split into 4 teams," Rice ordered. "Sweep the outpost. Find survivors, gather intelligence. Stay on comms." Rice took Okafor and Singh with her toward the central research hub. The silence was unnerving. A facility designed for hundreds now empty and still. They found the first body in the research director's office. Dr. Wells, the man from the transmission, lay slumped at his desk, a wound on his temple consistent with the video they'd seen. Singh examined him. "He's been dead approximately 40 hours. Cause appears to be a simple head trauma, nothing exotic." "He stayed behind to send the warning," Rice said quietly. "Made himself the last target." A soft noise from a nearby storage closet brought all 3 to immediate alert. Okafor's skin shifted to match the metallic wall behind him, his chameleonic modifications rendering him nearly invisible as he flanked the source of the sound. Rice signaled, and they breached the closet simultaneously. Inside, they found a woman curled in the corner, her lab coat stained and her eyes wild with fear. She screamed at the sight of them, then stopped abruptly, studying their tactical gear with desperate hope. "Earth sent you," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "You're military." "Dr. Elise Chen, Xenobiology," Singh said, reading the ID badge still clipped to her coat. "Are you injured?" "They'll be back," she said, ignoring the question. "They always come back. They're studying us in cycles, taking people, returning for more." Rice crouched to meet her eye level. "Who are they, Doctor? What do they want?" "They call themselves the Collectors," Dr. Chen said, her voice steadying as she spoke. "They're methodical, systematic. They'd been observing us for months before they made first contact. They believe human adaptability is unique in the galaxy. They want to understand it, harness it. Where are the others? Rise asked. On their ship, in stasis chambers. They're running experiments. Her voice broke. I hid when they came for the last group. They'll be back for another collection cycle soon. As if summoned by her words, the outpost's lights flickered. A low-frequency vibration hummed through the floor. Commander. Ivanova's voice came through the comm. Sensors detect an approaching craft from the alien vessel. Estimated arrival in 3 minutes. Reyes made an instant decision. All teams, converge on the main hangar. We're extracting Dr. Chen and falling back to the spearhead to regroup. No. Dr. Chen grabbed Reyes's arm with surprising strength. You can't leave them. I've been monitoring the collector's communications. They're preparing to depart the system with all their specimens within 24 hours. Reyes hesitated, torn between the need to secure the intelligence Dr. Chen represented and the mission to rescue the outpost personnel. The decision was made for her as the lights cut completely, plunging the outpost into darkness. Emergency lighting flickered on, bathing everything in a dim red glow. They're here, Dr. Chen whispered. Through the research hub's windows, Reyes saw them. Tall, slender figures moving with fluid grace across the outpost's central plaza. Their bodies seemed to shimmer, as if not fully committed to a single form. Each had 4 upper limbs and moved with a precision that suggested both incredible strength and complete control. Barricade the entrances, Reyes ordered. Ivanova, alert the spearhead, we have hostile contact. Only silence answered her. Comms are being jammed. Okafor reported, his skin returning to normal coloration in the red emergency lighting. Beyond the barricaded doors, the aliens moved through the outpost with the confidence of familiarity. Through gaps in the makeshift barriers, Reyes watched as they systematically checked rooms with devices that emitted a soft blue glow. They're scanning for life signs, Dr. Chen explained. Those devices detect electrical brain activity. They can find a hiding human through walls. Then hiding isn't an option, Reyes concluded. We fight. Humanity unleashed. The collectors breached the research hub with disturbing efficiency. Their movements were fluid and coordinated, each one seeming to intuitively understand its role. The first to enter carried what appeared to be non-lethal weapons, devices that emitted targeted electromagnetic pulses designed to disrupt human nervous systems. They clearly weren't expecting enhanced humans. Vargas was the first to engage, his augmented muscle density allowing him to absorb impacts that would incapacitate normal humans. He closed distance with the lead collector, demonstrating why he'd been Earth's hand-to-hand combat champion for 5 consecutive years before joining Aegis. The alien's movements were blindingly fast, but Vargas was faster. His neural enhancements processed combat data at superhuman speeds, allowing him to anticipate and counter the collector's attacks. For perhaps the first time, the alien faced prey that fought back effectively. Reyes and the others joined the fray. Their modifications gave them advantages the collectors hadn't prepared for. Okafor's adaptive camouflage, Sane's ability to fight through pain that would disable normal humans, and Ivanova's neural countermeasures that resisted the aliens' disruptive technology. Still, the collectors adapted quickly. After the initial shock of effective resistance, they adjusted their tactics, focusing concentrated fire on individual team members. 3 of the Aegis operators went down under sustained assault. Fall back to the secondary position, Reyes ordered, helping Singh drag an unconscious team member. The remaining team retreated to a more defensible location deeper in the facility, sealing pressure doors behind them. They weren't trying to kill us, Okafor noted, breathing heavily. Those weapons are designed to incapacitate. Of course, Dr. Chen said. They want specimens, not corpses. The brief confrontation had confirmed what the transmission suggested. These aliens were studying humans, cataloging their capabilities. But now they had encountered humans who significantly exceeded baseline parameters. The Aegis team had just become the collector's most desirable research subjects. In the relative safety of the sealed laboratory section, Reyes assessed their situation. 3 team members unconscious, communications jammed, and an unknown number of highly capable alien entities between them and extraction. Dr. Chen, Reyes said, "You mentioned you've been monitoring their communications. What else can you tell us about them?" The xenobiologist's hands shook as she accessed a terminal. They're a species that evolves through assimilation rather than natural selection. They identify desirable traits in other species and incorporate those traits into their own genome. Human adaptability is unique to them. We can survive in environments and situations that would decimate other species. How many prisoners do they have? Reyes asked. 286, according to their manifests. They're kept in stasis aboard the mothership, removed only for experimentation. Singh, who had been tending to their unconscious teammates, looked up. These weapons they're using. They're calibrated for standard human neurophysiology. Our enhancements provide some resistance, but not immunity. An idea formed in Reyes's mind. Dr. Chen, does the outpost have access to the collector's ship? Any way to get aboard? Chen hesitated, then nodded. They use shuttlecraft on a regular schedule to transport specimens. The next one departs in approximately 30 minutes from the main hangar. Then we have 30 minutes to prepare a welcoming party, Reyes said, a grim smile forming. Vargas, I need explosives, non-lethal but disruptive. Okafor, you're going to be our Trojan horse. The plan came together quickly. Using data Dr. Chen had gathered during her weeks in hiding, they identified the collector's patterns and protocols. The aliens were methodical to a fault, which made them predictable. When the collectors breached the laboratory section, 20 minutes later, they found 2 unconscious humans, Okafor and Reyes, apparently disabled by system failures that had released anesthetic gas. The aliens scanned them, detecting the unusual neural and physiological modifications that made them such valuable specimens. Precisely as predicted, they transported both to their shuttlecraft, securing them in stasis pods alongside 3 other captured outpost personnel. The collectors appeared to communicate through subtle biochemical signals, their bodies releasing pheromones that conveyed complex information to others nearby. What they didn't detect was the completely inert explosive compound Vargas had developed, disguised as medical implants within Okafor and Reyes. Nor did they notice the microscopic neural disruptors Singh had injected, designed to activate remotely and interfere with the stasis field's effectiveness. As the shuttle ascended toward the mothership, Reyes remained conscious despite the stasis field, her enhanced metabolism fighting off the effects. Through slitted eyes, she observed the collector's movements, noting their ship's layout and control systems. The shuttle docked with the mothership exactly as Dr. Chen had described. The collectors efficiently transferred their new specimens to the main holding area, a vast chamber filled with hundreds of stasis pods, each containing the human from the outpost, all preserved in a state of suspended animation. Once left alone in the holding area, Reyes activated the neural disruptor. The stasis field flickered, and she was able to move. Slowly at first, then with increasing coordination. She freed Okafor, whose chameleonic skin had already adapted to match the metallic interior of the stasis pod, rendering him nearly invisible when the pod opened. 20 minutes until the rest of the team creates their diversion, Reyes whispered, checking the chronometer implanted in her wrist. Let's free as many as we can. They moved through the holding area, deactivating stasis pods and administering stimulants to awaken the outpost personnel. Many were disoriented, some were injured from either capture or experimentation, but all understood the urgency of their situation. Dr. Wells, not dead as they had assumed, but rather a different Dr. Wells than the one they'd found in the outpost, helped organize the awakened scientists. They'd been studying our problem-solving abilities, he explained as they worked, putting us through scenarios designed to test our adaptability under stress. They seem particularly interested in our capacity for improvisation. "Then let's show them what humans do best," Rais replied. Exactly 20 minutes after their arrival on the mothership, the remaining Aegis team executed their part of the plan. The outpost's main reactor, modified by Vargas before they departed, overloaded in a carefully controlled detonation. The explosion wasn't designed to destroy the outpost, but to create an electromagnetic pulse that temporarily disabled the collector's technology. Simultaneously, Rais activated the inert explosives she and Okafor had smuggled aboard. The resulting discharge wasn't powerful enough to breach the hull, but created sufficient disruption to disable the ship's internal monitoring systems. Alarms blared throughout the mothership as the collectors realized their specimens were escaping. Rais led the freed humans toward the shuttle bay, using the ship schematics Dr. Chen had compiled during her weeks of monitoring. The collectors responded with impressive coordination, but seemed unprepared for the sheer chaos that 200 panicking humans could create. The aliens' methodical nature, their greatest strength in controlled scenarios, became a liability in the face of human unpredictability. The confrontation in the shuttle bay was brief but intense. The collectors attempted to herd the humans using their non-lethal weapons, but faced with Aegis operators who understood their technology and freed outpost personnel desperate for escape, they were overwhelmed by numbers and tactics they couldn't predict. As the commandeered shuttles launched from the mothership, Rais received confirmation that the remainder of her team had secured the spearhead and were preparing to rendezvous at predetermined coordinates. The collector's mothership attempted pursuit but found its systems compromised. Dr. Wells and several other scientists had taken the opportunity during their escape to introduce a virus into the ship's command protocols, exploiting weaknesses they'd observed during their captivity. Aboard the Spearhead, as Earth's rescued citizens received medical attention, Rais composed her report to Admiral Chen. The threat had been neutralized, not through superior firepower, but through the very human traits the collectors had sought to study: adaptability, resourcefulness, and the unpredictable nature of humans under pressure. They wanted to understand what makes humans unique in the galaxy, Dr. Chen told Rais as they prepared for the journey home. "I believe they got their answer." Admiral Chen's response to Rais's report was brief but spoke volumes. "Return home, Commander. Humanity now has its first confirmed interstellar diplomatic contact to prepare for. The collectors need to understand that humans are not specimens to be studied. We are a species to be respected." As the Spearhead initiated its full drive for the return journey, Rais looked at the faces of her team, the best humanity had to offer, each one enhanced beyond normal human limitations. Yet it hadn't been their physical modifications that had ultimately prevailed. It had been the quintessentially human qualities no genetic engineering could provide: courage, ingenuity, and the fierce determination to protect their own. The emergency signal had called for humanity's greatest warriors. Earth had responded by sending not just enhanced soldiers, but representatives of humanity's indomitable spirit, proving to the first hostile aliens they encountered that humans were not merely subjects to be studied, but a force to be reckoned with among the stars.